We have to know that over 30 counties, 37 counties, there were demonstration, and the main rallying call was Ruto must go. Then when Raila made Ruto to survive, now fire is turning that Gachagua must go. So I want to say that this is not the priority that Kenyans should be focusing on. We are only 2 years away from the election, the swearing in of the president. Nothing has happened. The only thing has been, no money, what? The difference between Gachagua and Ruto are more personal than national. We have elevated personal differences to a national level. And this is not supposed, we're not supposed to blame Gachagua and Ruto, we should blame you Kenyans, you the media. Why are you focusing on non-issues, which is personal? I am Professor Fred Ogola. I'm a governance and economic expert. I'm also one of the conveners of Concerned Citizens Movement. Today, I want to do a bit of some civic education regarding the state of the nation. Currently, we are seeing the vice president and the deputy president in a dogfight about impeachment motion or the other one. Let me say, first of all, that before people say Gachagua must go, already the whole nation was united in one voice that Ruto must go. We have to know that over 30 counties, 37 counties, there were demonstration, and the main rallying call was Ruto must go. Then when Raila made Ruto to survive, now fire is turning that Gachagua must go. So I want to say that this is not the priority that Kenyans should be focusing on. We are only 2 years away from the election, the swearing in of the president. Nothing has happened. The only thing has been, no money, what? So I'm thinking that this is not the moment to put all these things there, but politicians will create non-priorities to become priorities so that they can shift us away from what we should be discussing. We should be discussing about how to offer healthcare, education, and the rest. I also must say that the difference between Gachagua and Ruto are more personal than national. We have elevated personal differences to a national level. And this is not supposed, we're not supposed to blame Gachagua and Ruto, we should blame you Kenyans, you the media. Why are you focusing on non-issues, which is personal? Ruto and Gachagua has not disagreed on anything to do with how to bring healthcare to Kenyans, free healthcare, free education. They have not disagreed on how to reduce or even improve livelihoods of Kenyans, or even reduce cost of living, which is the main issue. They have not discussed about the issue on how to reduce debt. They have not discussed about the issue on how to reduce government's expenditure. The government is just not the people is not the question. We are discussing about leaders whom we are the one financing, and they're using our money to twist us to what we like. So let me start by stating the following. One, about public participation. There is no need for it. To impeach the president through, deputy president through parliament, you don't need public participation. But they know very well that the election of William Ruto and Gachagua was done on a ticket, which was a joint ticket, and it is not just easy to say that you're removing this person and the other one remains. Because there is, it's a legal lacuna in the constitution of Kenya that we have never ever impeached any deputy president, because the first deputy president elected according to the Constitution of Kenya 2010 was William Ruto, and he was not impeached. Even Uhuru Kenyatta had that discussion when they were clashing. Uhuru Kenyatta considered it, but the legal team told him not to do it because it might destroy him. So I want to say that what Ruto is doing with trying to impeach Gachagua is very different from what has been done before. You remember when Moi saw that the country was becoming difficult to rule, was this about balancing the economic and the politics. So Moi saw that he was focusing too much on politics, and the economy was suffering, and Moi did that so-called the dream team. He brought the dream team to at least give his presidency a new lease of life. Maybe Ruto was supposed to not, instead of forming the broad-based government, Ruto was supposed to come out with a dream team that could be able to help turn around the Kenyan economy, but he went for political solution where the economy was the issue. Again, you see the issue of Kibaki. When economy became, Kibaki's economy was running well, but politics wasn't doing well. He had a handshake to calm down the political temperatures and focus and ensure that he balanced the economy. But Kibaki failed so much on the political side of the economy, because that's why Kibaki struggled to win the second term. Uhuru Kenyatta had the perfect balance between the economics and politics, because when he handshake Raila, he was able to work without focusing on Ruto. Ruto was on top of the cards throughout, and that worked. So I'm realizing that Ruto could have focused on the economy now, not on politics, because politics is just a matter of calling Gachagua and agreeing on how much they are going to share the loot and move on. So public participation is not necessary, because Kenyans are saying they are hungry, they want healthcare, they want education, they want their kids to go to school, they want affordable life. That's what they're asking for. They are not even asking about whether Gachagua or Ruto should go. The other thing about public participation was a sham. The sham in the sense that the ones taking bombers, you see ODM are the one now who are the MC facilitating. These are jokes, because if it's public participation has never been respected in Kenya, even when they are doing the so-called BBI, even when they were doing the so-called, the one for the finance bill and the rest. And I'm also wondering, where is the government getting all this budget for public participation when they are telling us they have no money and they cannot be able to serve Kenyans? Kenyans are hungry, drinking tea without sugar, porridge without sugar, githeri without salt, but Kenyans are being told that the government can afford to print all those voluminous papers to send them to all counties for public participation. Do you want to tell me the budget that was just read in Parliament factored in all this? Or where are they getting the money for public participation? Well, the citizens came out to tear those papers, but let me tell you what, those papers are being printed using your money, and the priority is not printing those papers. So I am not completely in support of public participation. The other thing about the impeachment of Gachagua, instead of focusing on the non-stories there, how can you evaluate the performance of Deputy President? That's what you'll be asking for. But you cannot evaluate the Deputy President and have his scorecard without evaluating the scorecard of the President, because he is the principal assistant to the President. Has the President ever assigned Gachagua any duty and refused? In the beginning of Ruto's presidency, there was a lot of drought, and Gachagua was assigned to try to work on the issue of drought. How did Gachagua perform? Let us focus on the duties given to him by the President and evaluate if at all we want to be open. Thirdly, I want to tell Kenyans, it is very bad when billionaires are fighting, then as the poor we join them in this war. Gachagua, as you said, is a billionaire. Before he joined the government, he had stolen 7.5 billion shillings from the county of Nyeri, which was a case. They said Uhuru Kenyatta was weaponizing the fight against corruption. When Uhuru Kenyatta highlighted Gachagua has stolen 7.5 billion. Now Ruto, who was saying that Uhuru was weaponizing the fight against corruption, Ruto himself now has already said Gachagua has stolen 5.2 billion shillings in his government. So if you add 5.2 billion to 7.5 billion, now what are you getting? You are getting 12.7 billion shillings that Gachagua has. So Gachagua is a billionaire. But how much has Ruto stolen? In my own record, and I can defend it, Ruto has taken from the public coffers around 2.8 trillion shillings to himself, which he is using now to invest in Adani and pretending that Adani actually belongs to the Indian people. He is using it to invest in fertilizer industry. He has invested in electric motorcycles and electric vehicles. He's investing it in the gas cylinder. He's investing in the cement industry. Ruto wants to own Kenya. So Ruto has even more problems, if at all corruption for Gachagua is anything go by. Ruto has even more, is more culpable than even Gachagua. So Why do we join a fight between two billionaires? It is us who are going to suffer. And I was disappointed when people were shouting, Kufa Dereva, Kufa Makanga. Those are very simplistic things. I've heard them being said by Kalonzo Musyoka, Jeremiah Kioni, Jim Wanjigi, Eugene Wamalwa. These are not leaders. Because if Kenya is a bus being driven by a driver and then being driven by, assisted by the conductor, if they die when we do not have someone who can lead Kenya to the Kenyan dream, do you think these people are just saying, Kufa Dereva, Kufa Makanga can be able to lead Kenya where we are going? So for me, we cannot just throw those words, simple words like that. Those are very simplistic words. Let us look for how to remove this government and be able to replace them with a government that can serve Kenyans. In fact, the way forward is the following. Let Gachagua and Ruto sit down and be able to divide the theft, the spoils they have taken from the Kenyan people. The money they have stolen from Kenyan people, let them find a formula to share that one, then they'll have peace. Because there is nothing that is of principal disagreement between the two people. They have no disagreement in principle. They have just disagreed on how to share the loot. And that one they can be able to do. While Kenyans should realize that we have two tribes in Kenya. Tuko na kabila ya wale ambao wanatuibia. So is Gachagua there? Yes. Is Ruto there? Yes. Is the Kenya Kwanza government, Wakina Joho, who has joined? Yes. Wakina Mbadi? Yes. All the broad-based government, are they there? Yes. Israel are there? Yes. Kenyans, let me warn you of the existence of false prophets. It creates a serious existential risk. Let us start from the very independence. I like my brother, the Secretary General of the Mau Mau veterans. He has written a book on the betrayal of the Mau Mau. And he has actually highlighted what we are seeing now, because that book will remain eternally relevant. Because when guys were fighting for independence, we had the real freedom fighters, the like of Dedan Kimathi. But also we had those we call home guards, those who are collaborating with the colonial masters. So when it comes to the time when power was being taken, power did not go in the hands of the freedom fighters, the people who want to liberate Kenya, the progressives. Power went into the house guards, the collaborators. And immediately, they launched neocolonialism. That's why you see how our economy is being managed. It's all about respecting the foreign, the colonial masters. And it has really plunged Kenya into the problems we have now. Now, after that, we had the second liberation. We had so many people who emerged. You could call them the likes of Raila Odinga. There were people like Shikuku. There are people like Matiba. There were so many people who had Bilgad Kagi at the time, the likes of Tom Mboya, Algrin Skodek. So many people emerged to try to liberate Kenya for the second time. But again, the dice was casted and put on the hands of the false prophets. You see now Raila Odinga was actually given the title of the people's president. His father, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, was Kenyatta's government. Kenyatta was actually a home guard. Kenyatta was not a freedom fighter. Was Raila Odinga's father, Jaramogi, a house guard, or he was actually a freedom fighter? The real freedom fighters were left aside. That's why Mau Mau has never been compensated. The people who fought for the land for Mau Mau, they were never even given the land they fought for, the land they died for, the land their ancestors died for. Some of the Mau Mau fighters died very, very poor. They died in very, very desperate situations because the real Mau Mau fighters did not take over power. And I can see that this is what happened in the second liberation. Even when Kibaki took over power, there are people who thought they were going to be progressives, the likes of Willy Mutunga, the likes of Gidongo. They were given positions in government. Now they kill civil society and it just fizzles out. Now we have this situation whereby we are in a serious situation. So realize that we are always going for the false prophets. Now, the Gen Z revolution which I can say with all honesty that I fought for personally. We began these things in 2022. We went on TV. We did a lot of civic education. We created a lot of public anger, the rage. And of course, when the Gen Z revolution was at its own peak, it also gave birth to some prophets. And some of those prophets are actually false prophets. And why I'm saying about this is the defining moment. Are we going for the real progressives, or we are going to pick again the false prophets? You saw, for example, the emergence of the Kalonzo Musyoka when Raila Odinga had actually crossed over and joined William Ruto. Kalonzo says he's now the one who can liberate the country. It's Kalonzo actually represent the face of the true progressives, or Kalonzo actually is a confessed false prophet who actually is working with the government. When I was in a same ceremony with Kalonzo in Kitengela, Kalonzo arrived in his private car, driven by a GSU and his other chase car with an alarm. It's a government vehicle. And Kalonzo being guarded by government security. Of course, he's entitled security, but is he in government or not? Because if he is in opposition and is running Wiper, he's a Wiper leader. So are all political party leaders having the same status like him? If he's a Wiper leader, and therefore he needs to have this, then all party leaders need to get that same status. But if he's there as the former vice president because of retirement, then he needs to retire from politics and enjoy those things when he's out of retirement. So these are state projects which are false projects which can be created. Now we've had the issue of Morara Kebaso. We heard about the problems of the issues of Kasmel Makaure. We have seen emergence of some people who look at true progressives. I don't want to criticize them because they are my fellow progressives. But I want us to go through it. Because even Fred Ogola, who is speaking to you, Wakino, Kiom Tata, who are fighting, let us all put these people to the test. Because Kenyans, we need to do proper due diligence. We have always jumped on people thinking they are saviors, but actually they have been sent by our enemies to represent them and pretend that they are saviors. When you hear that umevaa ngozi ya kondoo, some people are sheep, are actually a wolf, whom our enemies have dressed them in a sheep's skin. So wanakuja ni kama they represent us, but actually they are representing our enemy. Let us do proper due diligence. And let me say the following. Let us put everybody to the proper test that they deserve. And let me just go to discuss what I saw in China. In China, when you want to take a bank loan, they check you from the beginning. Were you in a nursery school? Did you used to attend class? Did you attend all classes? Were you seen as a disciplined child or not? Did you do your assignments? Because they believe someone who used not to attend classes, let's say, straightforwardly, or were doing all his assignments, will not be able to pay a loan. They also check who was your teacher in primary school, who was your teacher in secondary school, who was your teacher in the university, how did you perform, who are your classmates, were you trusted by your classmates or not? If you do this proper due diligence, you'll find that you cannot be able to pick a false prophet and go with it. So let's talk about these true progressives. Who is Kalonzo Musyoka? Which nursery school did he go to? Which primary school? Which secondary school? Which university? Who are his classmates? Was he seen to be trustworthy? Can we trust him? Was he on the side of Kenyans or against Kenyans? In all that journey he has made until now, he wants to say he wants to be Kenyan president. Let's put Okiya Omtata into the same test. Where was he? Where has he been? What has he stand for? Has he had any stance contrary to the people's progressive mission? Let's put Morara there. Which primary school was Morara? Which secondary school? Which nursery? Which university? Did Morara graduate from which university? Who was his fellow graduates? Can we see a graduation photo? Did he graduate in KU, in JKUAT, Moi University? If he says an advocate, did he go to Kenya School of Law? When did he graduate for Kenya School of Law? Did he qualify even to be an advocate? If he says he's an advocate. So let's do that. Let's go to Kasmuel. Kasmuel says he was an alliance. Yes, most likely it's true. He says he was expelled from Alliance 3 times. Is it possible that Alliance can expel anybody 3 times? As far as I'm concerned, Alliance is so proud that once they expel you once, they don't come back. Fred Ogola, where did he go to school? He calls himself a professor. Well, which is the nursery school he went to? Which was the primary school? Which secondary school? Which university? Did he graduate? If he says he's a professor in what? Let us do, everybody, proper due diligence before we jump into them. Because when you just meet a woman in a bar, and already you are saying you want to marry her, you have not checked which church he prays, who is his father, who is his mother, who is his aunt, whom does he relate to, whom does he know, who are his friends, who are her friends, where does she work, has she ever been known to stand for something, is she motherly, can she bring up children? Let's do proper due diligence, Kenyans. I am not criticizing anybody. I'm just telling Kenyans, do proper due diligence, even on me, on everybody. Because there's a question we call, how do you know what you know? If you know that Fred Ogola is a professor, how do you know he's a professor? Is he even a Kenyan? Sometimes you can be propagating Fred Ogola, but he may not even a Kenyan. Have you seen my ID? Am I a Kenyan? Where did I grow up? Who are my brothers and sisters? Who are my relatives? Who are my friends? Can we do this proper due diligence just before we jump into something? Because that's what happens. We knew very well that we just saw William Ruto. He says he's a hustler like us, and he was not a hustler. And we bought the narrative. Did we check where William Ruto went to school, which primary school he went to, secondary school? Did we check whether he was a good student? Did we check whether he had any criminal record? Did he ever steal anything? Because you cannot tell me you only begin stealing when he became president. If he was a thief, he must have stolen from primary school, from secondary school, and from university. You've heard about Gachagua. Who was Gachagua? Have we done a proper analysis? I'm hearing now people are saying that some people are saying now they want to take Babu Owino to be their leader. Who is Babu Owino? Let's analyze. Did he go to secondary school, primary school, university? In university, which kind of student was he? Miguna has said Babu Owino used to do mandamano to be given a grade by university students, university lecturers. Let us not believe Miguna. Let us believe on the truth. I've talked about ABC. Assume nothing. Have stolen from us from independence. So all those people, whether we call them opposition or those in government, they belong to one horse, farasi moja, ambayo inaitwa farasi ya wale ambao wanatuibia. Let them send them home. So citizens should gather together kwa ile kabila ama farasi ile inaitwa wale ambao wanaibiwa. Sisi wananchi ambao ni victims, sisi ndio tunaibiwa. Tukae pamoja, tuungane pamoja. Na vile tulishinda Finance Bill 2024. We reject Adani together in one voice wale ambao kwa sababu Adani ni wizi ambao imetengenezwa na wale ambao wanatuibia. Let us reject Chief, because that's again a deal made by wale ambao wanatuibia. Let us reject the education funding model kwa sababu it is denying our kids avenues. Let's focus on those ones. Let's not focus on Gachagua and Ruto. Let them do that in their bedroom. Kama bibi na bwana wanashindana kwa bed, wanakorofisana. Usiingie kati yao uanze kusema huyu aende na huyu abaki. Kwa sababu kesho wataungana pamoja na utasema nini? Gachagua and Ruto might unite again later. What shall we say? They'll say, oh, we have reconciled, we have forgiven each other, but they have cheated us. So let's reject what matters. Adani deal. Let's reject Chief. Let's reject education. Let us reject this broad-based government, the fraud-based government, the bread-based government that is focusing on overspending, over-borrowing, and underserving Kenyans because they are taking all the money for theft. And I want to warn Kenyans, 2027 is coming just around the corner. Let us not waste time because this government has not done anything that is even worth discussing. When the government is cheating you to take sides, those for Gachagua and those for William Ruto, You are being misled. All these people belong to the same WhatsApp group. Wale ambao wanatuibia sisi kama Wakenya. Sisi tuingie kwa one WhatsApp group. Wale ambao wanaibiwa. Na kwa hiyo WhatsApp group, tutafute kiongozi wetu, tutafute serikali yetu, tuunde serikali, ili tuangushe ile WhatsApp group ya wale ambao wanatuibia. Asante. Check everything. Let someone go and check whether Miguna's claims are true or false. Babu Owino says that he has 2 doctorates. One was given in Benin, another one was given in France during a conference. So let's check from that university in Benin. Why should a university in Benin give you a degree, a 100 doctorate degree, when you are in Kenya and you have done nothing to them? Let us go and check France. Can someone ever be given a doctoral degree during a conference? As an academic director and professor, it's impossible. 100 degrees are normally given in a graduation and must pass by the Senate. And those words must be read and must be written by academics. Conferences do not give degrees, because a conference is not a university. Anybody can organize a conference. So then it means that anybody can get a degree. If I don't have a degree now, I can organize a conference, and the conference awards me a degree and a PhD. How people get degrees is very clear in academic curriculum in Kenya. People don't get degrees in conferences. Then people can even get degrees during breakfast meetings. We cannot deceive ourselves. We must be very clear how we want to get things. So Kenyans, do due diligence, don't deceive yourself, so that we do not manufacture more false prophets. Thank you. Gitu Kaingeri wrote a book, The Betrayal of Mau Mau, isn't it? Because Mau Mau we had the freedom fighters, isn't it? But eventually the people who took power were the house guards, isn't it? So that means that we took the false prophets, who are the house guards, who are actually the collaborators, the colonial powers, that has brought for us neocolonialism right from independence, isn't it? So those were false prophets. You come into the issue of the second liberation. The second liberation was full of false prophets. Now we have come to know actually they were not the people's presidents. Now they're actually false prophets. Now we are seeing now a re-emergence of people like William Ruto saying they're the ones who can liberate Kenya, ukombozi na kuja. What is it? False prophets. Now when Ruto's government is falling, now we are seeing the emergence of few people now. Kalonzo says he can liberate the country. All those guys, these are false prophets. So we should not go for false prophets. There I say what we need to do as Kenyans is proper due diligence. And I want to explain how that happens. I think that's it. What do you think?